Hey guys, and welcome back to Motocapers. I just wanted to bring you a quick video tonight. What I thought we would do is replace our stock indicators on the XSR900 with some aftermarket indicators that I purchased online. So what I've done is I've replaced the indicators on the right hand side of the bike already, and you can see there is the new indicator that I'll be putting on. Much smaller, but before anyone jumps on and starts screaming at me that it's far too small, it's actually very bright. Okay, so I'll just flick the lights on and whack the hazard lights on, and you can see that it's actually a very bright light. So there's our stock indicator, and this is our aftermarket indicator. Really bright. It should be really good. So what we'll do, I've done the right hand side of the bike, we'll go through now and we'll do the left hand side of the bike together. Alright guys, so as you can see we're on the left hand side of the bike now. There's our stock indicator that we'll be removing. But first we've got to remove this shroud by removing these two Allen keys here, and you'll need a 4mm Allen key for that. So other things that you'll need to get this done is obviously your aftermarket indicator that you'll be replacing the stock indicator with, some blanks to fill in the hole once we remove that, to allow us to mount the new indicator. And what I bought online was a plug and play XSR900 wiring harness, so that I don't have to cut the original bike's wiring harness. I can just splice into this and plug it in, and it'll be fine. And the old stock indicator will still be 100% ready to go if I want to change it back to stock at a later date, so I'm not damaging the bike's harness at all. Right, so the first thing we'll do guys obviously is with our 4mm Allen key, we'll remove the radiator shroud. Right, be careful when you're doing this that you don't cross thread it. A lot of these come with pre-installed Loctite from the factory. Right guys, so once they're removed, retain those, keep them aside because you'll need those to go again. Also, bear in mind that they have a little collar washer built into them. Make sure you retain that, it's got to go back in. Okay, the next thing we need to do guys is get this shroud off. So it wasn't clicked in, but usually if that's clicked in at the top, you would have to push up a little to release and then pull it away. Okay, we'll place this down now so that it doesn't get damaged. Okay, that's the oxygen sensor. That's the O2 sensor from the exhaust. That can stay put. This one here is the one we want. Right, so you'll see guys, this is the actual turn signal umbilical hook up here. So get a flat tip screwdriver, push in on that tab and pop it off. Okay, just like that, we've got our stock turn signal umbilical unhooked. Okay. Right, next thing we want to do is remove our actual indicator itself. Right, so what you've got to do is get something in. There's a little pin behind. Wedge that in and lift up, and then just pull down on the indicator, and you'll see where it comes out. So this little flange here is what keeps the stock indicator in place, wedged in like that. So you need to get something in behind that and just lever it so that that releases. Okay, now that's released, we can remove our stock indicator. Okay, what we will need to do though is keep this rubber gasket. So that rubber gasket, guys, is going to have to go back into this hole and be reused with our new indicator setup. Right, with this rubber gasket, you'll see that there's a flat side and a stepped side. The stepped side goes to the inside. Okay, you'll see there's a channel there as well to seat on this shroud on the shoulder. And simple as that, we have that shroud in place. Alright guys, so the next thing we want to do before we go too far is just lightly fit our new umbilical on the hookup. Lightly fit it. Right, we then get our new turn indicator, and you'll see there's a yellow wire and a black wire, and on this light a yellow wire and a black wire and a white wire. That's because these turn indicators actually have like a daytime running light function as well. Only our new harness won't have that, so that white wire there for the daylight running lights will be redundant. So keep these separate, yellow to yellow, black to black. I plug that in. Don't go too far yet, just make a light connection. You want to test that the indicator is working before we go too far. Right, and then our yellow wire to our yellow wire. Again, make sure those rubber sleeves are down so nothing can contact and short. Right, we're just going to now quickly check that the indicator is functioning, so we'll turn the power onto the bike and turn our turn signal on, and you can see there that the turn signal is working fine. Alright, that's good. Bike off. Okay, so we know that our wires are good. First thing we need to do though is disconnect those, because we need to feed these wires through the final hole and back down through our resting place. So what you'll see on our indicator is a nut and a washer. Take that all the way off. Right, once that's all the way removed, right, if you can see my hand as well, guys, it's not a manky rash. I've actually got a little bit of sun damage on the back of my hand, and I'm using some solar rays cream to sort of chemotherapy burn that out. So this is getting rid of potential skin cancer. Your beauty. Right, so we'll need our blanking plugs now, which will go in here and help us mount the indicator to the bike. Right, these again I bought online on eBay. They weren't expensive at all, and they're really quite good billet aluminium, so yeah, really happy with that purchase. So you'll see there's a flat side and a dipped inside. So the dipped inside has to go out. We'll face our wires through the outside of that. Right, so the indicator will sit like that. Right, we'll then place our wires through this hole. Pull them out the back, because that's where they're going to eventually sit. And then that will sit in like that. The indicator will sit in there, and the bolt will go on from behind with another plate to seal that into position. Okay. What I'll do before that though, guys, is I want it to be a bit protected on the back end, so I'm going to wrap the wires here with a bit of electrical tape down about that far, just to make it look a bit neater, and also give those wires a little bit more protection from the elements. Right, so we'll do that. Right, so those wires now are nicely wrapped. They can go through. The next thing we need to do is feed on our other plate, and we want to feed it on with the hole facing to the rear. Okay, so that's through there like that. That will sit in behind with the other plate sitting in on the front. And then we can tighten those up together with our nut on the back. Now, it's really tight to get that nut on. There's not a lot of free thread hanging out the back. So we get our washer, thread it on, good, and then our nut. One at a time to make it nice and easy. There we go. Righto. Now we want to get this in position. So this is going to be a little bit fiddly. Get the top flange in place where we want it, which is right there. Bottom flange in place. We get our washer and our nut up. This is very, very hard to do with one hand, especially when you have big old fat sausage fingers like me. Right, so I'll hold that in place. Washer on. Sorry you can't see this from behind, guys. It's really, really fiddly. And our nut. Need to get our nut all the way up and on. Right, so essentially, this is how our indicator is going to look when it's all said and done. Right, now that's loosely on, we can feed our 3 wires back into the shoulder shroud. Right, so if we pull those through now, guys, we can make that look a bit neater on the back end, and you can see that the wire that we've taped up can come all the way into that shroud as well and be protected. Righto, so simple now, a case of connecting yellow to yellow, black to black. Again, we'll make sure these are fitted in really well now because they're not going to come out again if we're lucky. So that's clicked in nice and strong, rubber shroud back over the top, and the yellow wire to yellow wire clicked in really well, yellow shroud back over the top. So what we're going to do now is tape these up so that they can't wiggle around and contact one another after the fact and short something out, because the last thing we want to do is short out our electrical system on our beautiful motorbike. So with that said, we'll get some nice black electrical tape. We'll tape up the black wire first. Right, and then we'll bring our yellow wire over onto it and tape it in place. So we've got 2 layers of short protection there. Right, that's going to be held nice and firm. The other thing we want to do, guys, although that white wire is redundant, is just gather that up and tape it into position there as well, just so that it's not flopping around all over the place. So I'll try and keep it as neat as we can. Righto, and now it's just a case of finding somewhere for these wires to sit where they're out of the way. And I think that will probably go quite well. We can then get our shroud back on. So when we put our shroud back on, guys, these grills must go to the back with those little prongs up the top to lock it in place. So put it on at the top and push down a little. That will lock those in. And then with our 4mm Allen key, we put our Allen screws back in, making sure that we don't cross thread them, and that we have those little shoulder washers on each one. So as I said before, these are pretty much pre-Loctited. So they should, once they go in, be very, very firm. Again, you don't want to put these both in tight at the start because they've got to line up. That top one isn't quite lined up, whereas our bottom one has gone in quite well. So we'll just back that off a touch and get that lined up. So the last thing we want to do is force something and break it. Okay, so that's lined up nicely now. Nip that up hand tight. Nip this one up hand tight. And then we'll give it a bit of a stronger nip up. And essentially, guys, that is that. That's our aftermarket indicators installed on our 2022. This will work on the 23 as well, XSR900. So again, I think they look really great. You can see they're very, very small, but they are very bright. So again, I'm quite happy with the light that we get from those indicators. Right, so the beauty of those, you can see them from the side as well due to their design, but also really nice and bright from the front. So they're a very small indicator. They make the front of the bike look a lot more streamlined. I really like the look of them. Right, so be interested to see what you think, guys. Hit me up in the comments down below. Do you like these new aftermarket indicators, or do you like the original OEM indicators better? For me, I really do like these. The original ones are nice, but I think these are just a lot more streamlined. Okay, so with that said, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something from the video. Please give us a like and a subscribe, and share it around, and hit that little bell to follow for more content in future. There's going to be a lot more upgrades going on to the bike, and yeah, hopefully you might be able to learn something with me as I learn doing it. Alright guys, again, thanks for watching, thanks for your time. Enjoy your bikes, ride safe, and see you in the next one. Alright, see you guys.